Hi, it's me again with really laser tips and tricks. I do some videos on Corel Draw, and most of you that have watched them. Nobody's asked me to do this. Nobody's paying me to do this. I'm just a big fan of EPILOG lasers. They're made in Colorado. They're 100% made in the United States. No other laser company that I know of can say that. About 20 years ago, I bought a EPILOG laser. And I was at a woodworking show, and my salesman, Randy Allen, that we're going to talk about later, had a laser there and put my friend's name on his wooden pin that he turned. And I walked away from the booth saying, I've got to have one of those. And then within that time, I met Jeanette Brewer that runs Engraving Concepts. And I bought my first laser. I bought two lasers from them. I bought a bigger one. I started off with an 18 by 24 and ended up with a 40 by 28. Mine is before the Fusion Pro, but I'm still happy with it. Anyway, I'm going to talk about EPILOG. I mean, not only when I first bought my laser, there were only three major companies that made lasers, and EPILOG was the only one in the United States. And I'm not saying anything against the other companies. And now there's really only two, is EPILOG and the other one. But now there's probably 25 different laser companies out there that you can buy a laser from. And they're not all cheaper than EPILOG, but the majority of them are less expensive. But they're less expensive for a reason, because they're made overseas. And I don't have anything against anything made overseas. You know, at first through the 20 years, there were lasers coming out of China that didn't even have names on them. They went by colors. Well, I'm going to order a red one. I'm going to order a green one. Anyway, through the 20 years of me engraving, I've met people I met one man that has 11 EPILOG lasers. I met another man that has 7 that actually lives in Austin, Texas, where I live. I'm getting old now, 72 years old, and I probably won't ever buy another laser. But if I did, I'd buy an EPILOG without even question. The customer service of EPILOG is beyond great. I've been going to a trade show in Las Vegas every year I think this will be my 20th year this coming February 2026. And Mike Dean, one of the founding people that started EPILOG, has been at every single show. You're not going to find that with any company, that the owner and founder and part inventor takes his time to go to the show. I mean, he goes to the show in Texas, in Arlington, at Graphic Pro. He goes to APA in Las Vegas every year. And I know it's probably a mini vacation from him, but he's one of the most knowledgeable laser people in the world. And then I'm gonna leave a link to EPILOG's website. I'm gonna leave a link to Engraving Concepts website, and I'm gonna leave a link to a video put out by a good friend of mine at Laser 911 that actually went up to Colorado and toured their plant, and he does an excellent job. Now I'm going to talk about Engraving Concepts, which is the distributor of EPILOG Laser plus some other products. Roy Brewer was way around in the engraving business and awards business way before lasers came about. And he's one of the most knowledgeable people about lasering and Corel Draw. He's always been my mentor. Engraving Concepts, if you live in this area, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, or Hawaii, you get Engraving Concept as your sales team. I've been a customer for 20 years for them. I I've been to both their locations. They have one in Houston and one in Arlington. And I've taught classes there. I don't consider myself a customer. I consider myself family. I mean, these people are so over the top with customer service. Roy Brewer instills it in his daughters that both work for him. Randy Allen, uh, Michael that does the repair and technical support, Jimmy DeBose that runs the Houston store, and they've actually moved like the offices to Houston area, but Randy and Lynette are still up in Arlington. It's just when I first started lasering 20 years ago, I was still working, and I'd only could laser on the weekend, and I'd have a question, either lasering, well, mainly lasering, and I'd email them Sunday, like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, thinking I'll get an answer maybe Monday. Two of them would answer my question before 10 o'clock on Sunday. I've always said I don't think they sleep. Jeanette, EPILOG has a Facebook page, and I'll leave a link to that too. No other laser company has a Facebook page like this. They have files that people share. I've shared many of files. I think Jeanette checks it every 30 minutes and helps people, answers questions. You know, I've got most people are from EPILOG or have an EPILOG laser. You know, my tube's out. How do I order another one? Jeanette is on it to tell. She doesn't care if you live in Maine. She's going to help you. Randy Allen, my salesman, that I actually consider a personal friend of mine now. One time I bought a new computer and I couldn't get it hooked up to my laser. I called Randy Allen. He's in a parking lot at an airport. And he talks me through it and gives me the numbers to hook it up in a parking lot at an airport. I'll also going to put well, if you go to Engraving Concepts website, they have a little video about the family, and that's what it is. So I'm going to leave some links at the bottom. So if you're thinking about buying a laser, there's many choices. I'm not going to say there's not lasers out there, and there's lasers out there that are cheaper, but they're cheaper. And I mean, EPILOG, I mean, I bought the first laser I bought, it was called a Helix. I bought their demo unit that Randy would take around the state and unload in and out of. And I bought that demo unit and I had it for, I think, 12 years and still on the same tube. I sold it to a friend. And he just recently, a couple of years ago, replaced the tube, but it didn't even need it. He took it up to Arlington to get a few adjustments, and they said, you know, wouldn't be a bad idea to put a new tube in it. Now, there's lemons in any company, and you know the tube is supposed to last from 3 to 5 years, and that's, you know, the major part of what could go out. But EPILOG makes their own tubes, and you know that some of the off-brand, out-of-country tubes are water-cooled. You know, and one thing I get so many people asking me, well, what laser do you have, and why do you have EPILOG? Or they have to turn their, you know, they draw in Corel, but they have to turn it into an SVG to print it on their laser. You know, you can print straight from your computer right to CorelDRAW. I mean, right from CorelDRAW right into EPILOG. So look at the bottom of the link. I'm going to put quite a few videos. And in case you've never seen it, 15 years ago, I made a Ferris wheel 100% out of wood on an EPILOG laser. And I'd only been using a laser a couple of years when I made it. Turned it into the state fair and won a blue ribbon. The next year I made a merry-go-round. And I'm proud as punch of both companies. I mean, I just can't say enough about them. So if you're in this area, you're extra lucky. But EPILOG has distributorships in every niche of the country. I just happen to be fortunate to live in I've heard from other people that we have the best distributorship in the whole system. Now there's some good people. I've met people from, Minnesota, and I've met people from, up into Canada that are great people. And that's what you're going to see at the trade show. You go to the APA in February, and I'll leave a link to that. And it's on all my videos, up top on my video. It'll be on top of this video. And, the other companies will have salespeople from all over the country. When you go to the EPILOG booth at APA or Graphics Pro in Dallas or Arlington, they're distributors that show up, like Randy goes to Las Vegas, way over here, and out of his territory, and he's probably not going to get any sales, but he's there to help people pick EPILOG. Anyway, so look at the bottom of the video. I'm going to put quite a few videos and links, and that's all I really got to say. Is just I'm a big fan of both companies. Anyway, kind of look into that, and thank you for watching.